Okay, I was just asked a question by one of the people who are here about what perhaps one of the main barriers for us is in coming to grips with our egotism and our self-centeredness in this life. And there could be a number of answers to it, of course, and a number of solutions. But one of the main barriers we have to coming to grips with our egotism is that we're so dishonest with ourselves about ourselves that we never, we hide from ourselves. You know, human beings are a great mystery. And above all, we're a mystery to our own selves. And we don't really examine ourselves carefully and know ourselves well enough. And when we see something, you know, perhaps a bit unpleasant in ourselves, we try to hide from it. We try to pretend it isn't there, or we try to just gloss over it. And being dishonest with ourselves and hiding from ourselves within ourselves is one of the great barriers to our coming to grips with our egotism, and also with coming to grips with the fact that we need to grow and develop spiritually. If we really do not come to an honest and sincere understanding of ourselves, but we're always deceiving ourselves about ourselves, we have no firm foundation upon which to build and upon which to grow and develop spiritually. Of course, among the solutions to some of these things, marriage is one. And I like to remind married people that after you've been married for a few years, your spouse always knows more about you than you know about yourself. And if you have an argument, they're bound to tell you. So one should sometimes pay attention, you see, to what your spouse is telling you. But we're very often noticing what's wrong with other people, and it's not so much noticing what's wrong with ourselves as being honest about our vulnerabilities and being honest about our own weaknesses. And perhaps this is why Apostle Paul said, if I must needs boast, I'll boast in the things of my weakness. Because by boasting in the things of his weakness, he exalted the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ in his life, and realized his dependence on that grace to help him live with his weaknesses, not always to overcome them, we don't always, but we do learn to live with them. But during fasting periods, you know, keeping the fast is not about rules, laws, and regulations. Keeping the fast is about exercising ourselves in self-control and self-discipline. And while we're exercising ourselves in self-control and self-discipline, we come to realize that how can we discipline ourselves or control ourselves when we don't even know ourselves, or when we know so little about ourselves. And it's important during the Lenten period to examine our own hearts and our own minds. I think also it's valuable, and I'll ask everyone who watches this video on YouTube or elsewhere, after you finish watching it, go take paper and pen, and in one column write down all the people you think you hate. In another one, write down all the people you're sincerely prejudiced against. In another one, write down all the people that you think will probably go to hell. And afterwards, try to think up a good reason why you believe that way. A good reason why you hate those people or those groups. A good reason, sound, solid reason, why you're prejudiced against those people or those groups. And a good reason why you think these people might go to hell, or those people might go to hell. You don't have to include yourself in that latter list, but you will find out a great deal about yourself by seeing who you hate, by seeing what kind of people you think you hate. Because the kind of people that we think we hate and that we're prejudiced against are almost always a reflection of something within us that disturbs us and that we're not willing to come to grips with or to face. You know how many times I've said that moral outrage is a form of confession, because we hate most in others what we fear most in ourselves. And so many of the hatreds that we have are really reflections of ourselves that we see in others, and it's the reflection of ourselves that we hate in others. Because hatred of others is generally a form of self-hatred. And we need to discover ourselves and find ourselves more completely this way in order to really struggle against the egotism that causes us to hide from ourselves so that we don't face ourselves. The egotism that keeps us from understanding our own vulnerabilities and weaknesses and our own needs. And the cover-up that we do within ourselves, about ourselves. So dishonesty with ourselves about ourselves is one of the main barriers to our accomplishing our struggle against egotism and self-centeredness and self-love. Because self-love and self-centeredness are very often based on covering up for our weaknesses and shortcomings. And we go to an extreme about that. And this is what gives us this. So many people, we think they're very arrogant. But in probably most of the cases, arrogance is a cover-up for insecurities, personal insecurities, for our own feeling of vulnerability, and for our own uncertainty. And responding with arrogance is a way we hide the fact from ourselves that we're unsure of ourselves, and we have these uncertainties and vulnerabilities. So many of the things that pertain to our egotism are really based on our own inner weaknesses. And marriage, of course, is a solution, not the only solution, because marriage leads us toward an unselfish love for another person. And when we have children, probably the greatest expression of unselfish love is toward our own children, but also toward friends, because friendship can't exist in the face of pure egotism and without some kind of relationship with the other person that subdues our egotism and looks to their welfare and to the benefits of the friendship as well. And monasticism can serve for the same purpose, because when we give ourselves over to the welfare of the community instead of to our own egotism and self-centeredness, it also helps to bridle these problems that created with the fall of mankind. And so this is our great struggle. First of all, that asceticism does not mean flogging yourself, starving yourself to death, or not going to sleep at night and doing thousands of prostrations or something. Asceticism simply means training, and training ourselves in self-discipline and self-control is through fasting and examining ourselves to see who and what we actually are, so that we know ourselves well enough to have a foundation upon which to build our spiritual growth and development. Is a great part of it. And this is so much a part of the Orthodox Christian life that is actually missed. Because there's so many times when people know so much about the Orthodox faith. They have head knowledge, but don't ever develop heart knowledge. And when we have head knowledge that doesn't enter into the heart, it's a kind of spiritual schizophrenia, where we have a break between the brain and the heart. And they don't communicate properly. So we need to move our head knowledge into our heart so that it transforms our heart. And this is really a part of the path toward a genuinely Orthodox mentality and life.